Welcome to the Mental Militia, uniting minds and freeing souls from the bonds of mental slavery and ruling class manipulation.
Let's talk about what personal characteristics and skill sets are going to be needed by you as a student in this seminar, okay? Because I've shown you what qualifies me to teach the class. Now let's look at what you're going to need to do well in the class, okay? And the first thing is internal stuff, right? It's not so much like, you know, the mechanics, right? This is like, what do you have to have inside of you? What are you really made of, right? Okay. The kind of person that you are. If you're really going to teach natural law, if you're really going to teach objective morality, true morality, you got to know about it. You got to have it within you. Okay. You got to care. If you don't care, you're not going to want to get up and make presentations and go on the air and do podcasts. I got to care so much that when I don't want to go on the air, I still got to go on the air. Okay. And that's plenty of weekends where I'm like, oh, I'm beat, I'm tired, or I just don't want to talk about this. I've talked about it a billion times, you know, and you got to press forward and you got to keep going. Okay. That's willpower. All right. You got to care for truth. You got to care for justice. You got to care for doing the right thing. You got to have holistic intelligence. That means that it's not just intellect, right? The most intellectual people may not be the people that succeed the greatest in this seminar. It's not just a matter of intellect. You gotta stop thinking, oh, I'm not smart enough for this. Oh, I'm not good enough. Put all those thoughts out of your head. You can develop those skill sets. You can develop those characteristics. But you got to have holistic intelligence. That means you got to have a little bit of common sense. You got to have a little bit of intellect. And most of all, you got to have heart-based intelligence. Without heart, you're not going to succeed in this seminar. You got to be somebody with resilience. I mean heart from a perspective. You're not going to take no for an answer. You're not going to give up. You're going to keep going. You're going to follow it through. Push through to completion. Power through. Okay? If you're the kind of person that starts things and doesn't finish them, you're not going to do well. You got to start them. You got to power through them. You got to push through to completion. That's willpower. It's going to come up over and over again. You got to have drive and motivation. And that takes energy. That means take care of your body, right? Okay? You know, eat right, exercise, proper nutrition, all of that. Okay? That you're not going to have motivation and drive unless you take care of that stuff. All right? So it's all connected. This is all connective interplay. You need willpower, period. Okay? Persistence is going to be everything with this. You're not going to learn it all at once. Guaranteed. I will never lie to you and blow smoke up your rear end and say everything's going to be easy. You need willpower and persistence to keep pushing through. And you'll have that finger snap aha moment, you know, slap your hands down on your desk. I get it now. This will happen over time. It will not happen instantly, but it will happen over time. Okay? You need attention to detail because you don't want to do sloppy work. So again, the big word there is attention, focus, right? You don't want your attention drifting. You want to stay on topic. You want to stay on point. This is a big part of it when it comes to the tenets of the seminar. You need good communication skills. That means organizational skills are part of that, to create outlines and to structure your thoughts. You got to be creative. You got to have good aesthetics, right? An aesthetic sensibility to lay things out nicely so that they're easily readable and attractive, right? You got to have thick skin when it comes to this if you're going to become a public figure. Don't get involved in a lot of drama. Don't worry about what other people think. Put your work out. Let it stand on its own. Let it teach others. All right? Thick skin's a big part of this. If I listen to everything everybody said about me, you know, I'd be in constant, you know, anxiety and fighting with people and drama. And so it's like, I don't have time for that. I'm too busy. I'm too busy doing my mission, doing my work. That's what you got to be able to do. Block out all those voices that are telling you, no, you can't, you're not good enough, all of that, and just put your head down and do your work. All right. You get used to that. You make it a pattern of behavior, right? Nobody's going to do and immediately develop all of these things instantaneously. You keep pushing with persistence, and then you develop these qualities, just like you keep going to the gym to get stronger and lift heavier weight, or you go to the track to get faster at running, or you practice in the ring to become a better boxer or wrestler. You got to keep going back to it over and over and over again, and you got to develop a thick skin for it. Willpower, attention to detail, all of these skills. You got to have these inside of you. Now, that's the internal qualities, right? Represented there by the hermit card in the past slide, because it's inward. Now, these other things are going to help you with your outward tasks. That's why this is the magic, the magician card, right? The magus, the one who represents self-mastery. Here's the ways and the skill sets you're going to have to develop and master. Well, first of all, you need organization and time management, because if you're unorganized, you're not going to understand where anything's at or how it works. And a big, big part of what I'm going to teach people in this class is organizational ability, believe it or not. I hear from people who took the class or other people who I taught, and they're like, Mark, I was so unorganized. You have no idea the mess, the amount of time I spent just finding what I wanted to work with. I'm like, yeah, that's all part of organization. You notice how clean my desktop is? I don't have 10 billion files on my desktop. You know why? That's not what the desktop is for. We're going to talk about that. You're going to notice when we go back to my screen, there's nothing on my desktop. The desktop isn't for storing files. The desktop is for temporarily working on a set of files. And then you file them. You put them away. You wouldn't constantly have a billion files on your desk. You'd be looking for things constantly. Okay? Well, maybe some people would, and they're not very well organized. All right? So we're going to teach proper organization in computing, time management. I can't really teach you that too much in this class. I'm putting it down as something that you got to really work toward and try to master. I'm okay with it. Some people would say I'm not that good with it. Some people would say I'm pretty good with it. I think I'm somewhere in the middle. That one everybody's got to wrestle with, because we all have different things that take our time and attention, and we want to do different things in life. Everybody's got to make time for the great work, though, if you really want to do this and put the information out into the world. So time management's going to be something you're going to have to deal with and wrestle with on your own, but it will become increasingly important if and when you become a public figure and put information out into the world through media. Again, communication skills have to be mastered. You're going to learn how to speak with people. You're going to have to learn how to persuade people. You're going to have to learn how to explain possibly very complicated topics that have a lot of different components to them. And you got to make that clear in someone else's mind. You got to work with that and develop it. Benny Wills, who's on the One Great Work Network, who I interviewed a couple of weeks ago on What on Earth is Happening, a few weeks back. He offers a class on effective communication skills. I find it would parlay, and it would very well complement how to become the true media. He's telling you how you could learn how to effectively communicate. I'm showing you the methods of actually putting that into media, creating the media. Okay. But again, communication skills, that's something you're going to have to work on. General computing skills, that's what this whole seminar is about. And then the specific tasks, creating graphics, artwork, aesthetics in general, web publishing. How are you going to put something out on the web? If you want to print something, how are you going to do that? Using audio and video, which are the biggest modern forms of communication. Are you going to make a podcast? Are you going to make a video show? Are you going to do live streaming? Are you going to make a documentary? And then, ancillary things like troubleshooting. We're not going to get too big into it. I want to just show you maybe some of the basics and some of the later or last courses. You'll see me doing troubleshooting and how I approach it during the seminar, because I will make mistakes. I am not perfect by any stretch of the imagination. I will make mistakes. I will power through mistakes. Things will go wrong and I will have to attempt to fix them. You will see this in live time. Okay. So that's going to be the example in real life for troubleshooting. And then promotion and networking. This is something that everybody needs to attempt to master and learn and get good at. Otherwise, you're not going to be able to have people find your information. You're not going to play well with others. They might, want to interview you. You got to work with others and network to get the information out there and work together to do that. And promotion and letting people know what you're doing is a big part of that. So these are the personal skill sets that you're going to have to develop and master. Hence, again, the magician card in the tarot, which represents self-mastery.